And whose team is this? Is this your team, or is this your daddy's team?
Thanks for listening to the Dad Mode Podcast, common sense parenting in a politically correct world. Here's your host, Andy Carlson.
Welcome back to the Dad Mode Podcast, common sense parenting in a politically correct world. I'm your host, Andy Carlson, at Andy Carlson Show on the Twitter machine. I'm a father. I have no idea what I'm doing, but you aren't either. They're chiefy, so let's try and learn something together today. Website is dadmodepod.com. Tweet the show at dadmodepod, or just use the hashtag dadmode. Now, I thought about trademarking the phrase dad mode, except I think it's already gone. And yeah, it's weird because trademarking is odd because I guess the Vikings have tried to trademark the word skol, like S-K-O-L, a number of times unsuccessfully, because I feel like with the trademarking, it's a fine line between commonly used phrases, which is kind of like public domain, or something that is custom. So if you come up with a company like like Bud Light could trademark "What's up?" because otherwise jabronis out there capitalizing on the popularity of it could just print T-shirts that say "What's up?" Because I'm really good at hitting these pop culture references at their apex, but just bear with me. So apparently, Skol is just like relatively public domainy because like you can't trademark the word "the." Like, every time someone says the word "the," like you have to pay royalties. Doesn't make sense. But I guess it could do the dad mode thing. Anyways, really unimportant. But what is important today, just want to chime in because no Nickus on today because scheduling and football season is an absolute bitch. I'm not going to lie. It is a grind, and even though it is only week 7, the lining up schedules, Nick's a busy guy, and then also I'm doing 3 Purple for the Wins a week, a lot, and also the Andy Lucanary football machine. So out of the house, and I'm not complaining because being busy is much better than not being busy. But sometimes the Dad Mode Podcast suffers, and the wanted to chime in today. We've done an episode before about kid number 2, having multiple kids, because but it's topical today because our friends Max and Aaron just had their second boy named Giffen. They're going to call him Finn. Very cute name. Congrats, Max and Aaron. Max probably listens to the show, so maybe he's even tuning in. And the wife is, baby crazy. You know what I mean? And we've talked about having kid number 2 since before Muggsy was born. Go figure. So it's been something that's been in the works for a while, and I kind of get it. The whole people with siblings. I was an only child. I was adopted, by the way, so I don't really have a take on this. But the wife's siblings, she's the middle child, which explains a lot about her. Her older brother is 2 years older, and her younger sister is 2 years younger, I want to say. Maybe 3, maybe 1, somewhere in there. But either way, like all 3 of the kids are pretty well bunched up together, and you can tell by how they interact with each other. They're very close. They're very tight knit, and talking to friends where their siblings are, like more than 5 years apart, or 5 years 5 years older, 5 years younger. They don't have that bond. They're not sharing a lot of the same experiences because growing up, formative years, they're in different stages of life. When one kid is 4, the other one is 9 or 10, playing youth sports and not playing with dolls or Barneys or toys or anything like that. And then the biggest gap is probably middle school and high school. Middle school, the kids are still, think girls and boys are ucky and da-da-da, and then high school, all you think about is the opposite sex, if you know what I mean. And you just kind of drift apart. You don't really have that close bond. And we've talked about, we do want Muggsy and kid number 2, whether it's a boy or a girl, to have that close-ish relationship. Because also, like in the neighborhood, the Crystal's cousin Ashley and their 2 daughters, they're pretty close in age. I want to say almost like a year and a half apart. So they're going to have a tight bond. And the reason that I'm obviously going to make the wife happy, and obviously if we have more kids, it's just more people to love. But I'm not so militant about the time frame about having them be close, is because Muggsy's surrounded by family. She's right in between those other two cousins, and it's so cute. Like, they can already tell when they get together, like, they're very fast friends, and you can tell it's a really close bond right there. So the fact that she has that sort of support system of built-in friends and family so close, and it's not like they're selling their house soon, it's not like we're selling our house anytime soon. So they'll have that. It makes me feel like it's not so important. It's like it's not like we're living in Las Cruces, New Mexico, just isolated from all of the friends and family, and then we can have like 19 kids. You know what I mean? But the thing that probably freaks me out the most is the cost. With kids, everything is going to be 2 times. 2 times the cost. Twice the college tuition, twice the private school tuition, twice the clothes, twice the da-da-da. I understand a lot of hand-me-downs and all that stuff, but twice the athletic fees, twice the Daddy, I gotta have Jordans. Daddy, I gotta have Nikes. Daddy, I need this. Daddy, I need that. Blah, blah, blah. So those costs will add up. And I don't get the families that have 2 kids, the suburban families where things are always stretched thin. Dad and mom have a bunch of credit card debt, and they're living paycheck to paycheck. But then you have families like the Duggars, or even not famous families. Like growing up in small towns, you always saw the farm families that have like 7, 8, 9 kids, and they're not rich. They don't have a TV show. They don't own land like the Duggars, but they make it work. They make it work on a shoestring budget, and they're not in debt. They're good, God-fearing people, and they raise 6, 7, 8, 9 really good contributing members to society. And you see on the other side of the coin, families that cannot afford raising all of these kids, but just keep producing these kids, and they can't pay for them. Maybe dad leaves, maybe mom has a drinking or drug problem, and they just raise, odds are, 6, 7, 8, 9 kind of shitheads, and it's really unfortunate. So I feel like overcompensating a little bit. Like, you definitely want to be able to afford the kids that you do have, and I feel like it's a societal obligation that only have kids that you can afford to feed and clothe and have a roof over their head and have them have a solid education and be good upstanding citizens, because otherwise you just have a society of just idiots and YOLOers and blah blah blah. And so that's kind of what's got me. Also, I think it also helps the fact that I was a single child and adopted, and probably turned out okay? ? But I'm not gonna lie, growing up and wasn't particularly close to a lot of families. A lot of cousins lived, different parts of the country, and I did kind of miss like having a companion, a buddy, a older, younger brother or sister, someone that was kind of like always a built-in friend. And I see how the relationships that some of my friends have that had siblings, or hell, you see it on movies and TV, and it's coming up on the holiday season, so you see all those movies where the family's all coming home and dad's sick, or mom's got a secret, and they base the entire movie around that sort of premise. And just like, man, having 3 or 4 siblings, yes, I probably wouldn't have gotten everything I wanted on Christmas or birthdays, and probably a little bit less leftovers at the dinner table, probably not too many seconds, and probably would have sacrificed that to just have some brothers and sisters and some nephews and nieces around. But no. Anyway, well, I got enough nephews and nieces now with the wife's family just all around, all over the place, so I guess that's fine. But the it's I've talked about it on here before, and it's not exactly a state secret that the wife and I had a bit of difficulty conceiving Muggsy, but in the end it worked out without the help of technology, which is also kind of annoying. You go through all of those steps of IVF and in vitro fertilization and all that stuff, and it doesn't work out, and then all of a sudden, boop, just natural, just kind of happens, like whatever. All right, so cool, we spent all that money, and then all of a sudden, just nature takes over. I mean, I guess that's God working in mysterious ways, but whatever. And we were thinking about how all of those hoops that we had to jump through to get Muggsy onto this planet, and will we have to do that again for number 2, or will things just kind of work out naturally again? I don't know. And we do have that kind of in the back of our head. Do we want to go through all those steps again? Because there were times when we were trying to get pregnant with Muggsy that the wife, she got really bummed out. It's just like, is this ever really going to happen for us? And are we just going to be, that older barren couple that wanted to have kids, never had kids, and then as you get older, you don't have the grandkids and da-da-da and blah, blah, blah. But it worked out. We got one. And we got a pretty good one. And see, that's also why I'm not, I guess I can only talk for myself, but I'm not particularly freaking out. Like, if we never end up having a second child, we got a pretty damn good first one. And also, there's always the option of adopting. I was adopted, and the wife has mentioned several times, unprovoked, by the way, several times, that she'd be interested in adopting some kids from South Korea. Like, once we're a little bit more well off, maybe, and definitely have a larger house of, if we have 3 or 4 kids from our marriage, or not from our marriage, 3 or 4 kids from us, and maybe she's a little bit older and she doesn't want to go through the whole childbirth thing again, is that we can change lives. And if we're financially well off enough to do it, have enough space, adopt a child from South Korea again, so he or she will kind of look like her brothers and sisters. Just coming on in. That'd be a good way to pay it forward, because I would like to think that I'm quasi like a good adoption story. Like, I'm sure there's several out there that adoption's not really panning out so well. And but I would like to think that I'm a success story of adoption in this country. Maybe. Because I guess I quasi-contribute. Like, I earn a living, and I provide for the family, and keep a roof over our heads, and also produce some random not-so-good content every now and then. So I guess that's a little something. And, even if it's a spot where we can't have another child naturally, and Muggsy gets a little bit older, and we check all those boxes about being able to adopt a child, maybe that's the route we go. Maybe we have Margaret and then 2 or 3 adopted children. And in my mind, that's not going to change, like, my perspective of those kids. Like, I'll be their father, I'll be their dad, and Crystal will be their mom, and we'll love the hell out of those kids, just like they're our own flesh and bone. But I could see how that would be kind of weird. Like, adoption is not everyone's cup of tea, and I feel like some people's like, that is not my blood, that is not my air, this is different. But really shouldn't be. I mean, growing up, my grandparents, my dad didn't love me any less because I was adopted. Hell, I didn't even look like them. And in this case, we're adopting, or our plan is to adopt Asian kids, and guess what? I am Asian, but go figure. But who knows? Maybe things will shake out again, and we're definitely not trying to have a second kid. And as far as the gender goes, all right. So Crystal's cousin actually has 2 girls. I think they're going to have they're pulling for another kid, and maybe it's a boy, because I feel like 3 girls be really tough, especially once they hit like middle school and high school age. Like 3 hormonal girls, like 14, 15, 16 years old. I don't know, man. I don't know. And then our friends Max and Aaron just had their second boy, and I don't know. Like, obviously we love a girl, And, Muggsy have a little sister, and they can be kind of thick as thieves, and definitely both be daddy's girls. But there's just something about the boy, And this is probably kind of like old school thinking, but I feel like as a man, as a father, imparting wisdom to the next generation of males, ones that are, don't be a shithead. Don't be sticking your thing in every other thing out there. Women are not just a play toy, and they're not here for your entertainment. You treat them with respect, and you carry yourself like a man. You carry yourself with dignity, and it is kind of like an old school chivalrous notion that you provide for your family. You work your ass off. You be a good role model. You be an upstanding citizen. It's something that we've kind of gotten away from, but I feel like if I can just do that for one male on this planet and not produce one that's going to be out abusing women or taking liberties with women sexually, that's and also one that actually goes to work and provides and isn't a leech on society. I feel like if I can do that with 1 out of 7.5 billion people, that's a pretty good contribution. And obviously you're going to be doing that with a daughter as well, but there's something about men. There's something about, we could use more fathers that stick around and raise good young men, good boys who become men, then become good fathers. And I feel like that would clean up a lot of societal woes. Yeah, who knew? Man, kind of diverted off into politics, but that's kind of how it goes, man. Now, here's the thing. Once we get after kid 2, then the wife is really pushing for 3 or 4 kids. I don't know, man. It really goes back to that whole cost thing. And I understand that like Amish and Mennonite families and farm families can have like 17 kids, bringing in like less than minimum wage a month. But I don't want to go to that place where you only go out to eat like once a year, or you have to sew your own clothes, or you have to mill your own flour. No, that's not really my thing. You have to afford a family where you can at least go out to eat as a family. And it's also another pride thing, another kind of old school masculine thing where you take your family out to dinner and you pay the bill and it's a nice treat, and it just makes you feel good. It makes you feel accomplished. It makes you feel like you're doing something with your life. But, if you got 9 kids outside of CC's Pizza or Golden Corral, you ain't going anywhere nice. You ain't going to Manny's Steakhouse with 9 kids, right? But you definitely want to stay at that sort of level. And also the just sort of pride and dignity thing. Like, I get it. Like, hand-me-downs are fantastic. And don't get me wrong, especially right now when kids and Muggsy just growing out of everything, or craps on clothes or pukes on clothes, or even though she doesn't really do either of those too often, but whatever. You get my point. But being able to buy, like your middle child, nice pair of basketball shoes that he's going to be proud of and, wear with pride, as opposed to just the beat-up hand-me-downs. The beat-up hand-me-down Adidas's from his older brother. Yeah. Just that sort of providing for the family. You definitely want to be economically viable, right? Like, it's so weird because if you look, like the more, the higher the household income, the less likely they are to have multiple children or have more than 2 or 3 kids. And then we get into some poorer families. They're the ones that have like the 7, 8, 9 kids that all have different last names, and it's just a mess. Yeah, I definitely want to don't be like that. I don't know what we accomplished today, but some of you can accomplish. And, help fund the second child fund is shopping on Amazon through us, dadmodepod.com/Amazon. Redirect you right to the homepage. Here's what you do. Bookmark that link every time you shop on Amazon. Just hit that little bookmark. Just hit it. And we'll get a couple of nickels in our pocket. We'll keep it on here at the Dad Mode Podcast. But, the attempting to have the second child, though, it's pretty fun. Pretty fun. Did you catch my drift? All right. If you want to support the show, also tell a friend. if you hang out with your mom groups or your dad groups or whatever, you're gonna run out of things to talk about. Because no one wants to talk about the election. No one wants to talk about sports. That gets kind of boring after a while. So talk about me, Andy Carlson, and the Dad Mode Podcast, which is available on iTunes and Stitcher and iHeartRadio. And also follow the show at Dad Mode Pod on Twitter and me at Andy Carlson Show. And on Facebook, too. Get up on the Dad Mode Pod Facebook page. And the website is dadmodepod.com. But until next time, be a man, be a father, go Dad Mode, and we'll see you later. Love ya.
Think the episode you just heard is worth $1? Well, send it our way. Visit dadmodepod.com/support to find out how. Be a man, be a father. Go Dad Mode. The music is created and produced by Deeb. To hear more of his tracks, visit soundcloud.com/Deeb.
Hey everyone, it's me, Nickason, aka Uncle Nick, co-host of the Dad Mode Podcast. Before we begin the show, I thought I'd let you guys know about a side project I'm working on called the Nickason Podcast. That's right, I am hosting my own podcast where I talk about the latest news in the entertainment world. From movies, television, music, anything pop culture, I talk about it on my show. So please check me out, the Nickason Podcast. We air new episodes every Wednesday. Now, on with the show.